Today, let's talk about security on the NCS 5500, and more precisely, let's talk about what we call hybrid access lists. My name is Nicolas Février, and I'm a technical leader in Cisco Service Provider Business Unit. In a recent article on xrdocs.io, we presented how traditional or flat security access lists were implemented on the NCS 5500 routers. We invite you to check this article if you are curious to understand how a flat ACL works, where it can be used, where we store the data, what is the scale, and many configuration options. You can find the link in the description of this video. Today, we will demonstrate the flexibility and the really impressive scalability you can get with another kind of access lists, the hybrid ones. It's a feature sometimes named scaled access list or compressed access list. It's the same thing. First thing to note, we need a specific hardware architecture to operate it. That's why it's supported on routers and LAN cards based on external eTCAM only. They are easily identified by a -SE at the end of the product name. Hybrid access list requires external eTCAM, and it's true whether the product is based on Jericho or Jericho plus SX. Second thing to note, hybrid access list can only be applied in ingress direction and can only be used for IPv4 and IPv6. We'll start introducing the concept of object groups. For instance, network object group and port object groups. As the name implies, it's a simple construct made of prefixes or host on the one hand and list of ports on the other hand. For example, this network object group for my email server contains 17 entries, host routes, but also networks like /23, 24, 25s. But these port object groups contain the ports I want to open for my email servers, and they have 8 entries in it. In a traditional or flat access list, I will need to create one line for each host and prefix, and for each one of them, I will need to specify the port I want to open. In my case, that will be 17 by 8, that's 136 lines. With hybrid access list, that can be reduced to just one line. Permit CPNE, net group, object email nets, port group, object email ports. With this single line, I'm describing traffic coming from everywhere and every port, and targeted to the matrix composed by every combination of the element of my net group and port group. With the expanded keyword in this show command, I can verify that indeed it's 136 entries. Of course, my access list filtering can contain hundreds of permit and deny lines, and they can be based or not on net group and port group. Now, let's imagine that I have a new email server in my network. I simply need to edit my object group and add this .157 host address. Automatically, all the relevant ports are added to it. And the total of entries moves to 144. You understand easily now the flexibility this approach brings in your access list management. But I also mentioned scalability. And indeed, with hybrid access list, we can create huge filters, things that wouldn't be even remotely possible with a flat access list. On one line of access list entry, we can use object for source and destination, addresses, and ports. So it's potentially a 4-dimension matrix. Let's take a very big example to illustrate that. I will use a source of net group of 500 entries with a port group of 500 entries also, and a destination net group of 50 entries with a port group of 10 entries. That single line represents 125 million lines of a flat access list. What does it represent in terms of memory occupation? A part of the access list will be placed in the internal eTCAM, for instance the destination ports, and the rest, the source and destination prefixes and the source ports, will be stored in the external eTCAM. You can see the numbers in this show comment. Something also very important to mention, the performance in terms of packets per second is not impacted by the application of this access list. I invite you to read the blog post for more technical details, like the compression or the carving of the external eTCAM, and actually much more. I hope this was useful. Don't hesitate to ask questions or provide your comments. We are looking for your feedback. Thanks a lot for watching. See you soon.